Hey again, everybody. Tonight's lesson is over weather. Let's get started. Weather. What we'll learn today. We'll learn weather terms, how to ask about the weather, and how to answer. There are many different ways to describe the weather. Here we can see quite a few. When asking about the weather, we say, "What's the weather like?" or "How is it outside?" When we answer, we say, it's snowy, it's rainy, it's sunny." If we ask about the next day or another week, we say, "What's the weather going to be like tomorrow?" "What's the weather going to be like this weekend?" And we answer, "It will be rainy, it will be cloudy," or "It's going to be hot or cold." All right, you guys know the drill by now. Let's get started on the exercises. All right, time to ask, what's the weather like? It's sunny. Here we can see the sun is out. It's sunny. It's windy. Sounds like partly cloudy. We have clouds. It's cloudy. Cloudy. It's foggy. Foggy. It's foggy outside. It's rainy. Rainy. Rain is falling from the sky. It's stormy. Stormy. It's lightning. It's lightning. Lightning is coming from the storm. This is hail. Hail. Little ice cubes from the sky. It's snowy. It's snowy. It's usually snowy in December. It's frosty. It's frosty. When it's frosty, it's very cold. It's hot. It's hot. It's so hot, the dog is next to the fan. It's warm. It's warm. It's warm enough to have a picnic. It's cool. It's cool. It's cool enough to wear a hat. It's cold. It's cold. They're wearing their jackets because it's cold. It's freezing. It's freezing. All the water outside is freezing. Weather report. What's the weather like in Cape Town? We have New York, London, Helsinki, Yakutsk, Beijing, Mexico City, Buenos Aires, Cape Town, and Sydney. What's the weather like in Cape Town? In Cape Town, it's sunny and hot. What's the weather like in New York? Is it cloudy and cool, rainy and warm, or windy and cool? It's cloudy and cool. What's the weather like in Beijing? Stormy and warm, rainy and warm, or windy and cool? In Beijing, it's windy and cool. What's the weather like in Mexico City? Stormy and warm, warm with sunny intervals, or rainy and warm? In Mexico City, it's rainy and warm. What's the weather like in London? Stormy and warm, foggy and cold, or windy and cold? The weather in London is foggy and cold. What's the weather like in Yakutsk? Frosty and freezing, stormy and warm, or snowy and cold? The weather in Yakutsk is frosty and freezing. What's the weather like in Sydney? Cloudy and warm, stormy and warm, or snowy and cold? The weather in Sydney is stormy and warm. Good job. What's the weather like in Buenos Aires? Cloudy and warm, partly cloudy and hot, or snowy and cold? In Buenos Aires, the weather is partly cloudy and hot. What's the weather like in Helsinki? Cloudy and cool, rainy and cold, or snowy and cold. In Helsinki, the weather is snowy and cold. Great job sticking through to the end. Now, let's review before I give you your homework. When we ask about the weather, we ask, what's the weather like? Or how is it outside? When we answer, we say, it's snowy, rainy, it's sunny. If it's about tomorrow or another day in the week, we ask, what's the weather going to be like tomorrow, on Monday, on Tuesday? And we answer, it will be rainy or cloudy, or it's going to be hot, cold, or snowy. So for the homework, I want you to tell me about the weather. What's the weather like in the summer? What's the weather like in the winter? How was the weather today? How will the weather be this weekend? On this page, I want you to tell me what kind of weather is it? Clear skies and a bright sun? Cool air moving very quickly? White cold flakes falling from the sky? Bright flashes of electricity from the sky? And it's really hard to see in this weather. Great job again, and here is the email address for you to email me the homework. Thanks again, and have a great night.